Welcome back to another episode of Go, Go, Grow. I am your host, Michelle Page, and I am joined today with Nichole Mobley. She's a force man. Get ready. She is the owner and CEO of at least two companies that she's told me about. I believe there's more, but we haven't gotten into that. The first one is T&N Xpress, which is a transportation and logistics company.
Absolutely.
And the other one is SNS Enterprises.
Yes.
So I've checked out your websites in addition to the conversations we've had, and oh my goodness, you have your hands in a little bit of everything.
I do, especially in the logistics space. So the logistics, warehousing / manufacturing space, that is where I thrive.
Well, tell me, because you've been in this for a while.
I have.
So what I want to kind of focus on for this particular podcast, and, you know, the whole focus of Go, Go, Grow is kind of a scaling coaching podcast for those small, mid-sized business owners. And we find that there's a lot of plot twists and pivots and turns. And I think you've had a few.
I have.
So I'd love to hear about how you became interested in entrepreneurship, what the beginning of your journey was. Some of those, I think you called it a funny story.
I did.
And just kind of tell us about the genesis of both of your companies and entertain and educate us, please.
Okay, absolutely. So, like I said before, I'm from Jackson. Well, no, I'm sorry. I am a transplant to Jacksonville.
Okay.
I've been here about 18 years. I came here as a pharmaceutical sales rep. Was not necessarily grounded in the industry yet. Not COVID. That's the most recent downpour we had here in the States. It was when the economy went bad in 2008, 2009. So I moved here in 2006. So I hadn't been around that long. So for me, you had to be tenured, and 3 years was tenured. So they gave me an exit package. So then it was like, what do I do? Because regardless, in the state of Florida, doesn't matter how much money you make, 6 figures, 5 figures, you're going to get $250 a week for unemployment. So I went from making 6 figures to $250 a week. And at that time, I had my first child. And it was like, what do I do?
That's groceries.
Yes, absolutely. Money began to run low, unsure of what I was going to do next. A lot of uncertainty set in. Started working for some nonprofits. And as you know, nonprofits is a lot of work and not a lot of money. And for me, I was just like, where do I go? So at the time, Obama was president, and he had a Workforce Innovation Act grant, which was called the WIA grant. Oh. And with that grant, it allowed you to get employed in areas that they needed to have workforce in. And one of those areas was transportation. So they were literally sending you to school for your CDL for free.
Oh, wow.
So I literally gained my CDL license all for $65, which was the cost of my actual CDL license. I went to a school out in Green Cove Springs for about 30 days, and I received my CDL license.
So what was it that brought you to pick that industry?
I was raised in transportation.
Okay.
Yes, my dad is a trucker for all my years of growing up. So I was familiar with the industry. You know, he would leave and come back. He would tell me about the states he went to. He would bring me little trinkets from different states, right, that he had visited. And it was just, I would just remember when I was growing up, a lot of the things that he would bring me. I'm like, oh, wow, I would want to visit that state. Not realizing, fast forwarding, you know, into my lifespan that I would actually become a real trucker. So 2013, I graduated with matter of fact, October of 2024 will be 11 years that I've had my CDL license.
Wow.
Yes.
So at what point did you say, okay, this is my industry. I want to get out from behind the wheel and be a different kind of owner?
Well, let me tell you about the process that it took me to get before I got behind the wheel. when I graduated with my license in 2013, I actually cashed in my 401k and I brought a semi-truck, unbeknownst to the gentleman that I was dating, hence the name TNN Express. The T stood for Tim, the guy that I was dating at the time, and the N stood for Nichole. And so when I was telling him that I was going to go and get my CDL license, he told me he didn't want a truck driver girlfriend. And I told him that you were going to get a truck driver girlfriend today because I needed to work. I needed to work and I needed to get back into something that I think that I would enjoy. And when I was afforded that grant, and that's how we became TNN. We joined forces. So I graduated, cashed in my 401k, brought my first semi-truck. He had no idea what I was doing. When I graduated, I said, hey, we need to go to Georgia. And he was like, well, what are we going to Georgia for? I said, we're going to Georgia to pick up a truck. Well, where did you get money to pick up a truck? I said, you're asking too many questions. I said, are we going or what are we doing? So we formed TNN Express, right? And after I got rid of him, right?
I was going to say, there's an X coming in here, right?
The T no longer stood for Tim. It stood for tenacious, Nichole.
Oh, I love that.
Tenacious. So
I love that.
I did not give up, right? Here I am today. But before I get to the part of today, just so you know, we'll fast forward. That was 2013. We'll fast forward to 2020. Tim actually came to work for me. He worked for me up until last year, 2023. Uh-huh. He brought the truck that I brought for him that he was driving, and he now owns and operates his truck that I brought for him back in 2020. So even though we're not together, we still did business together, and he was still able to grow from me, and I was able to pass something on to him so that he could have not only generational wealth for himself, but for others coming along.
That is a fabulous wrap up to that story.
I told you I had stories.
and I want to come back to that in just a minute.
All right.
Because that was actually a point that I wanted to ask you about later. But let's talk for a moment about SNS. Can you tell us what that company does, how it relates
to TNN? So SNS is a different entity, right? SNS stands for Shanitra, Nichole, Shalitra. Right? And these are two amazing individuals that I met about a year and a half ago. We were at a government contracting workshop, symposium.
Okay.
And us three came together. All of three of us are Aries. So we came together with a concept because at the time we were just exiting out of COVID, right? Uh-huh. So COVID, you had a lot of things that were going on where you could not get products.
Supply chain.
That is correct. So once again,
it was rough.
Exactly. So we came together to join a force so that we could be a solution to the supply chain. So at SNS Enterprise, we manufacture American-made products right here in Jacksonville, Florida.
All right. So there's nobody in the audience. So this is what I'm going to do. So we've met a few times.
Correct.
We're both here in Jacksonville. Right. We're both, you're completely immersed in the Jacksonville small business community. I'm newer to the area, so I'm trying to get completely immersed. I'm going to try and become the mini Nichole and the mini Sonia.
Okay.
But in getting to know you and hearing you on like the panel last night when you spoke, I thought, okay, this is a whole different side. I want to look at her websites and get a little bit deeper into Nichole's mindset. Two things I came to the conclusion of. The first one is you're either going to find an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Or make the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And the second thing was if you're going to go into an opportunity, you're going to be well equipped.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to point you in the right direction on the first one, the find or make an opportunity. I'm going to give you the word concrete.
Okay.
What did you say last night?
So I was once married, right? And my ex-husband did concrete. So I helped him out on his concrete side of the business. So I know the lingo. I know what it entails. I know what it takes. And I know that as a small business, we have to have multiple streams of income. And for me, that resounds a lot because I'm a single parent with a daughter who is very immersed into sports activities, and they cost. She goes to private school. She likes to find her things in life. I don't know where she gets it from. And when we travel, she wants room service. So I got to be able to provide these luxuries, when we do things, right? And so for me, I just like to create opportunities for myself and show other business owners how they can create opportunities well, thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of the norm, thinking outside of what their business naturally is, right? So for me, I was like, how could I tap into the construction side of things with the knowledge that I have? And so by me having helped him outside of our marriage, I was able to utilize that as a commodity code that I could add to my JSEB certification. So for me,
and JSEB
is Jacksonville Small Emerging Business, right? And I had called on Gregory Grant to say to him, hey, this is that. Is it something that I can do? He said, oh, absolutely. He says, you add that commodity code on, and then you could be a supplier to whomever it is that they need to have concrete. I was like, oh, I understand that concept. I get that concept because I was doing it prior to. So I have a little boy who is really good friends with my daughter that goes to school. His father owns a construction company. Right? He is the CEO. So I had went to him and I had tried to do business with him earlier on, but I wasn't quite sure how I was going to approach it. Right? So I was like, I know I want to do business with this man. I just got to find the right opportunity. And so he actually texted me. He says, hey, Nichole. I said, hey, what's up? And he said, are you, and he misspelled the acronym, but I knew what he was trying to get at, right? And I said, you mean JSEB? And he was like, yeah. I said, I am. And I said, would you like for me to send you my list of things that I am certified in?
You're so helpful. I
know, right? And he said, absolutely. So I sent it over to him and he was like, okay, we have this project, X, Y, and Z. We need you to do this, to the third. So I was like, okay, I understand. We jumped on a quick call. He had his concrete guy to reach out to me. His concrete guy said, hey, this is what we need. This is the project that we're bidding on. We need your pricing. I said, okay, perfect. So I was able to supply them with the pricing so that when that project comes up, I'm going to be they're now making the match for the JSEP portion of it, right? And now I'm his automatic person for certain things. Concrete supplier, right? I also have warehousing on there because why? I have a 6,000 square foot warehouse. So he has a space now that he leases out, but he's given up his lease the end of this year because they've gone up on the rent. So what is he going to now do? Have his product shipped to my location where I was now receive the product, and then I will be the one to package it and send it out and be the person to do the short and final mile for his stuff around this area and surrounding areas. So now I'm creating opportunities not only for myself, but I'm creating opportunities for others.
So you're bringing additional business into the city, helping additional small businesses.
Absolutely.
So you're creating that network, that small business enterprise solution for you, for your colleagues, your fellow business colleagues, and as Mayor Donna Deegan says, making Jacksonville the small business capital.
Absolutely.
So,
especially for those in transportation. I mean, I, want to tell everybody, want to tell the world, this is my opportunity for sure. But if people just will be a little bit more patient with me because, they look at me as like, oh, she has all the transportation connections. And I do to an extent, but it's strategically being done. And as it gets into place, then I can bring others along with me to assist them with what they have going on in the transportation world.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about, the coming to every opportunity prepared. One topic yesterday that we got into as a group was being prepared before you have the opportunity.
Right.
We've talked about being JSEB certified. And just for any listeners that aren't familiar with that, every city, every state, every federal contract opportunity, there are set aside dollars for small businesses.
Absolutely.
Jacksonville has a 20% goal. Of course, Gregory Grant's going to say a 30% goal. But those dollars are set aside for small businesses. And you have to be certified for JSEB. And there's a lot of other programs as well that you need to be certified. Mm-hmm. But think about your business, women-owned business. Mm-hmm. If you are, I am, you are, get certified, claim it. If you're a minority-owned business, minority could be gender, it could be ethnicity.
Right.
It could be veteran status. It
Correct.
Could be a disability status.
Right.
It could be an underserved, other underserved populations. Mm-hmm. It could be an underserved industry.
Right.
And if you're any multiple combination of that, nobody else is getting those dollars.
Absolutely. And
but you got to be certified.
And don't forget about HUBZone, because depending upon where your business is located, those are dollars that people couldn't ordinarily get as well. Mm-hmm. Just like I spoke about last night when I was telling you about the contracting officer. She came to see me because I am in a HUBZone. She has not met her HUBZone match for dollars spent with the HUBZone business. So she came to do business with me because she knows me. So that's a relationship that I created.
Yeah. Explain to everybody what a HUBZone is, and does it apply just to Jacksonville?
No, it applies across the United States of America. You Googled HUBZone and it brings up a map, right? And you put in the map of your business and the location, and it will pop up and tell you whether or not you are HUBZone qualified. It will tell you green qualified or gray not qualified. It will automatically let you know once you put that address in. So for me, with the HUBZone, we got the certification earlier part of this year. So we've been in our location almost a year. Mm-hmm. And with that, I can partner with whomever on whatever. So say, for example, if you were service disabled veteran-owned business, right? That's such a tongue twister for me. And then, with the HUBZone, we could literally team together, partner together, do a joint venture like Greg is always encouraging small businesses to do, and we can go after the bigger contracts.
Right.
So that's what helps to set us apart when we have the certifications behind our business.
Absolutely. So there are so many opportunities out there. Be like Nichole. If you don't find the opportunity, create the opportunity. Just be prepared before you need it.
Absolutely.
So I do want to touch on something you mentioned earlier. Tim. So you helped him establish generational wealth.
Correct.
By building and growing, scaling his business. Of course, I'm all about grow, scale your business.
Right.
And that is a common thread for you.
Right.
You provide so many opportunities for teaching, training, learning, mentoring.
Yes. On a constant basis. That's why
yes.
I tell a lot of people that I don't have a lot of free time. So when you come to me, make sure you know what you're coming to me for, so I can figure out where you fit in the mess of things that I have going on.
One thing my mother always said, I'm never free, but always reasonable.
Absolutely. I agree. I like your mother.
And when I looked at your, it's Xpress.com.
TNN Xpress. No, so you mean for my website?
Yes.
It's www.tnxpress-llc.com.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. When I looked at that, because I wanted to see, okay, I know that there's layers and layers and layers here. I wanted to see everything that you've got. And there are all types of courses, one-on-one group sessions. I believe there were some workbooks, and however you learn best, there's a method.
Right.
Whatever point you're at in your business journey.
Correct.
And I got the impression it's not just in logistics.
No, it's not. So for the site, you look at, I have an event coming up September 21st from 9 to 12. And what I typically do there is it's a federal, this time I'm teaching federal government contracting 101. So this is going to be really geared toward the federal side. I've had a state one. Right. I had that back in June. And then I had one back in March that I did for the local area contracting. So what I do is I basically bring individuals in who want to learn how to scale the business, basically like I did, trying to help them. So my ultimate goal is to really get them in as a mentorship so that they can come underneath me. I can show them how to get these certifications. And then I teach them how to take the business that they currently have or maybe working on and scale it. Just like I was speaking about yesterday, a husband and wife team that I'm working with. I've been working with them now for about a month. Probably in the next couple of weeks, they'll probably have about 5 certifications that we've done in about a month and a half. Yeah. That it would take somebody a year or more to get because they wouldn't know where to begin or where to start. The paperwork. And then some of the paperwork that we've done has been so redundant that I'm saying to them, make sure you keep this together because we're going to take this same packet, maybe add a couple more sheets to it, and we're going to get another certification. They're like, wait, what? Are you serious? I'm absolutely serious. And then what I do is I walk them through, like right now we're going through the My Florida vendor portal, and we had a call, with the state themselves, because I truly believe that whatever it is, I try to make myself better. I want to make my mentees even better. Yes. Because when they can make success and they can say, okay, yes, she told me X, Y, Z, and this is what happened, right? And then that makes people a believer of who you are and what you have going on. And what I've done is I literally walked them step by step to say, hey, these are your competitors. So once you learn like who your competitors are, you go to the agencies because the agencies, they tell you exactly what they're doing. Each one of those contracts specifies what they're doing in the contracts. And some of these contracts are just strictly labor for what it is that they're doing.
And it's public knowledge.
It's public knowledge.
You find out what the project is.
Yes.
Who won the bid.
Yes.
And you can probably figure out why you lost it.
That they will actually discuss it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, one-on-one. But I'm showing them, like, because they're new to the contracting world. So I'm showing them that you can say, hey, reach out to this agency that has the agency number, the person of contact that you can reach out to say, hey, my name is such and such. This is what I do. How often do you guys do this? And then you get to figure out who they are. You send them your capability statement. And then you just start keeping in touch so that when it comes times for certain contracts to come around, they'll just drop them in your inbox or they'll make a phone call to you. Yeah. So that's how you get to learn who it is. And then ultimately, now you've gotten maybe 3 or 4 of the competition contracts. Now they're trying to figure out who you are, right? Versus you figuring out who they are. That's the whole goal.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I've always believed in if you're starting out on a path, get a Sherpa. Talk to someone or ask someone to guide you. They don't have to lead from in front.
Right.
Side by side. Even if it's those first few steps.
Yes.
Get headed in the right direction. Don't walk blind.
That is
If you
correct.
walk blind, you don't even know where you're going versus or where you end up or anything.
You don't want to be the blind leading the blind. Somebody has to be able to see something, right? So why not let that person be me that's seeing it? You're blind at the moment, and I'm going to give you and help you to take those blinders off so that you can see what I'm seeing as well and understand the processes that go along with it.
Right. If you are starting your business, you probably know the subject matter of your business like the back of your hand. Do you know every other aspect? Do you know the certifications? Do you know the filings? Do you know how to set up your business? Do you know how to set up your operations, your finance, your HR? No. That's why you have somebody else help you with that.
Right.
Get help with this too.
Absolutely. I agree.
So that's awesome. Well, what advice do you have for someone who is wanting to start a business and they don't know where to begin? They haven't decided yet what is going to help them achieve their goals from either a personal or financial standpoint, but they know they want to be an entrepreneur?
The first thing I would literally tell them to do is do some research, do some market research, find out what it is that you want to do, right? Once you find out what that market research is and what it looks like, then you decide and you build upon what you want your empire to be. And when I say empire, I'm talking about from the name on down, right? Because your name needs to be stand out from everybody else, but it needs to be something that symbolizes, that make people want to be intrigued about what exactly or who exactly is this, right? And then once you get that, I would say find yourself a business mentor, someone who is in that industry, or better yet, somebody who is just in business, period, that understands and will know where it is that you're trying to get to, and know about the deep, dark trenches. Because everybody don't talk about the trenches. Everybody don't talk about that dark space. And it needs to be someone that you can trust, and it needs to be someone that you can have a safe space with.
And preferably somebody who's experienced what you're going through. It
doesn't always necessarily have to be someone that you've experienced something with, because if you have the right friend, or you have the right confidant, or you have the right business person, they will listen. If they don't listen, they will ask the right questions so that you can be transparent with them and talk to them. And maybe they could just give you some good, everyday to day advice that can help get you through. Because sometimes you just need that advice to get you through to the next day, or the next, better yet, the next minute, at times, because it just depends. So sometimes it just depends in entrepreneurship. Like, entrepreneurship is never the same every day, every second, every hour. So you never can pinpoint what's going to go wrong. But if you have like a strong support system, and I mean from business mentor to someone who is, really good in finances, someone who is a really good lawyer, or somebody who is, what's the other one? I've had my four little sachets that I've always kind of sort of kept close knit to me, because you never know when you might need them.
So I've got, I can relate exactly to what you're talking about. I've got two gentlemen who have been my lighthouse. Yes. That's the only way I can describe it. They're dear friends, colleagues, clients, and I've actually hired them for things. I mean, it's such a symbiotic relationship, and has been for 20 plus years with both of them. Right. So if it's something general business related, they're my go-tos.
Right.
And I've got two of my best friends. If it's something Michelle related, I go to them. But if it's something that is strategic business related and Michelle related, that's my girl, Barb. Best friend, one of the best business minds that I know. Barb, hi. So you're absolutely right, Nichole. You need to understand, okay, what is it I'm struggling with? And you probably need to, if you are in that dark spot of like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Or, the walls are closing in, or I can't breathe. Know who you need to talk to, have a variety.
Absolutely.
And maybe talk to different ones about different things.
Absolutely. But I really have two really good friends that I kind of sort of like put most of my trust in, other than my two business partners on the other side. Mm-hmm. But before I met them, it was just me, because TNN Xpress is solely me. So I'm an asset-based company, right? So I own the equipment. I had at one time almost 10 trucks and trailers that was operational on the road. So I was making like crazy amounts of money. But people didn't understand the stresses that I would go to, because at the end of the day, you think about the semi-truck and trailer, that really is a tool that could kill somebody. People don't look at it that way, but that's how I view it. So every night,
risk, financial,
it's a liability, all of that.
The human risk.
Absolutely. And so for me, I actually had a driver last year to wreck one. And that's what allude me to say, you know what, I need to figure out how I'm going to do something different in this business, because my nerves, my insides, and the fact of me knowing that it could have went way worse, but it didn't, which I'm thanking God for. But I just couldn't deal with the fact of me knowing that I could kill somebody and that would be on my conscience. Like I couldn't deal with that every day on a day-to-day basis. So that's when I let a lot of my trucks go. I still have my trailers because I utilize them to like different needs, like for FEMA, like when they have disasters, right? And then I also use some of them for rental purposes. So that's a weekly income for me as well. So, but as far as the trucks, I don't have as many like I used to, but that's still my first love, trucking for sure.
So this is such a good thing to think about for all business owners, entrepreneurs. You've got to feel good about what you're doing.
Yes.
It's got to sit right here. It's got to sit right here.
Right here.
Yeah. And if something is just not quite right,
right,
you're the boss. Change it.
Yes.
Make it work for you.
Absolutely.
When you make it work for you, you make it work for others. And the part I love about you, Nichole, is you're all about making it work for others and helping them fill their dreams. So
bring them along the way too. Why not?
Yeah.
It's a lot of room for all of us.
It's a party bus.
Yes, it is.
Party bus of success.
I agree.
Well, I'll tell you, it has been just a huge highlight these past couple months, me getting to know all the movers and shakers in the Jacksonville small business community. And you are definitely one of those highlights. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. And I'm so glad that we got a chance to run into each other once again last
Yes,
night.
that was wonderful. And for everyone that's watching, my wrap up to you is get involved in the community. There are not only wonderful resources out there for you, but the people that are out there. That is the biggest resource that you can possibly find. That's who you need to be doing business with. And it's not a business of, here, do you want to buy my goods or services?
Right.
It's, Nichole, how can I help you? How can I help you succeed? Because your success will feed mine. And it's a community of partnerships. So
that's right.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us, Nichole.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you on the next Go, Go, Grow. Catch us on YouTube and all your favorite podcast outlets. Give us a 5 rating. Share with us with a friend who can use some value. And we'd love to see you again.